really 3 people that are choosing to be here. I made my parents come. Awesome. John, Amy, and Natalie. Okay, did you already press record?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Just started. I skipped most of the bad stuff.
Good. Good. Well, I'm teaching this course because I could teach some other courses about juggling or something like that, or yo-yos. But I'm not going to do that. But I am going to make everybody look at my yo-yo tricks here. Let's see. Are you ready, Natalie? Nope, not that one. Joel, don't laugh. Hold on, my parents will. Mom, Dad, are you watching? Watching? You watching?
We watched you in the living room for about 2 hours.
Hey! That's all I know how to do. Besides stuff like that. There we go. I just had to get that out of my system. How do you feel, Natalie?
I think it was to show off your cool pocket.
Yeah, isn't that cool too? No, but I love juggling and unicycling and balloon art and gospel magic tricks and what else, Natalie? Ukuleles? Yeah. But I also really love digital kids ministry, and that's why I'm teaching this course. And I think it's here. I'll just jump into a little bit about me. I'm a kids pastor, YouTuber, speaker. Natalie is my biggest fan on the Kids Click vlog, right? Maybe. But had a 3-year series on just all different kinds of things that I did on the road and all different kinds of things. I'm going to be looking at you, but I'm also going to be looking at this video too. I feel like this is a part of my audience too when I'm on camera. But I love kids ministry, went to North Central, and now I'm a kids pastor here at Evangel and eKids. So it's really, really a lot of fun. I want to talk about video though, because video in a lot of ways is what I like to call a Swiss Army knife. So in kids ministry, I don't actually just talk about kids ministry like everybody had to do online kids ministry and online everything during COVID. And it was really, really, really annoying, honestly, that everyone was online. And but I'm talking about a digital style of kids ministry that is universal, and you can use it really in anything. Like the following: YouTube, music videos, announcements, pre-service elements, countdown videos, rules videos, service experiences, service transitions, Kids Bible Experience stuff, which if you don't know, have you guys heard of the Kids Bible Experience at all?
No.
Have you heard of the Kids Bible Experience? Okay. She's on the YouVersion app. It's like a TikTok devotional type style thing for kids. There's all different types of outlets for kids to hear the gospel and be discipled digitally that I think a lot more people need to continue to utilize. But I want to talk too a little bit about this book that I have here too that I would really recommend. That's kind of why I asked you, Joel, what kind of books you were reading. He's reading super old books. I'm reading about a book from a really old program, but that's still really thriving, but not from our denomination. So Winston, Titus, Pastor Winston, don't keep letting me be ordained here, because I'm about to talk about the Baptist Church. But this book is by Valerie Bell. She's the current CEO of Awana. And Awana has done a bunch of research to try to be more effective. And this is an excerpt from this book. It says, today's kids are becoming screen disciples through secular venues like YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, and other media messaging. This strong secular-driven culture is ever present in their lives, addictive, and more readily available than mom and dad. It's where they go for advice, what to think, and how to behave. It's where they go for relationship and identity. Compare screen time with church time, 1.7 times per month for an hour or two, and we have to admit our kids are screen disciples. So really what this makes me think of is that, okay, there's this huge part of kids ministry that for a long time we just kind of utilized, and then we were all forced to utilize, and now we have to come to the realization that if we really, really want to continue discipling our kids, that we need to actually be really, really good and not like kind of like the cheesy kind of Christian videos. Natalie, have you ever watched a cheesy Christian video? Yeah, she knows what she's talking about, and she knows what I'm talking about, and she's not even my age. She doesn't even know what she would categorize it as, but you know it when you see it, right? Yeah, she knows it when she sees it. And that's what I kind of want to challenge, not just kids pastors, but all creative kids and family and youth and adult ministries to kind of think about is this is a ever-coming reality. Here's some statistics about different ages, not just kids. 0 to 8 years old spend an average of 50 minutes a day staring at a screen. They're looking at a screen, just like you are right now if you're watching this video, all right? Get off. All right, just kidding. But 0 to 8 years old, the average is 50 minutes a day. 8 to 12-year-olds, you'd fit in this category, right? Do you spend about 6 hours staring at a screen? Hopefully not. You live in Beulah, right? Yeah, there's nothing to do but in Beulah just look at a screen, right? You're out on horses. Yeah.
We have sheep.
Sheep. Okay, you're riding sheep. Just kidding. I know. But 0 to 8-year-olds, 50 minutes. 8 to 12-year-olds, 6 hours a day. That's the average screen time. Now, maybe that's not scrolling on Instagram, but if you compare it to their time at school, TV, and you add up also iPad screen time, right? A lot of parents will say, hey, you get screen time, and they're always talking about iPads, when in reality, a majority of 8 to 12-year-olds' day is screen time. So you have to think about this. How can we utilize screen time for the kingdom of God? But teenagers, on average, spend 9 hours a day staring at a screen. That's a lot of time of your day. That's how much we, average like sleep at night. But here's my thesis, kind of. If you're going to write down something like a note or remember something, my thesis is that digital kids ministry is not the newest technique. It is actually the new mission field, right? This is some place that we can actually go in and really reach a new audience for a new purpose, and we can send people into, because with digital platforms, you can reach millions of people through the Kids Bible Experience, which is accessible on your YouVersion app. On everyone's YouVersion app, you can scroll and click Kids Bible Experience on your homepage. On average, they get I think over close to 100,000 unique kids users watching those videos a day, right? So if we can get to the right platforms with the right content, we can actually reach kids in a new way that's actually like a missions field, and it's not just like a skill, right? Like my yo-yo tricks that I just showed you. It's not just a new skill, but it's actually a new missions field. So that's what I want all kids pastors to kind of think of, and youth pastors and anyone. So I'm going to do something right now to try to help everyone get onto the same page, not as me, because I'm still learning, I'm still turning pages, but I'm going to call it my 5 top 5s, which is essentially, it's either 5 top things to help you or my 5 top mistakes, and there's 5 different categories of my 5 top 5s. 5 top 5s. Everybody do it with me, ready? 5 top 5s. I just made that up. I just like actions and motions because I'm in kids ministry. But my first thing is I'm going to talk about is 5 mistakes people make in digital kids ministry. There's a lot of mistakes right over here. There's a lot of mistakes, so everybody can see it. Thanks, cameraman. There's a lot of mistakes that people make in digital kids ministry. However, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is this first one. They don't do it because they think it's too expensive. It has never been more inexpensive to actually do something digitally, right? To go into the missions field, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, plus your education beforehand and all different kinds of things that you need to do. It's so expensive, but literally you can go into the digital kids ministry missions field for nothing if you have an iPhone, right? You can do everything from an iPhone if you really, really tried. So a lot of people are like, I'm going to start doing this once I have this equipment, right? Because they see like maybe a curriculum like even Orange, right? They have really good quality filmed equipment and it sounds really good and it looks pretty. So they're like, I'm not going to start until I have this. When in reality, that's the biggest mistake that you could even make. Because on the Kids Click vlog, which you can go on and watch on YouTube, it's on there. I don't make those videos anymore, but I did once a month for 3 years. And the first of the month, I actually filmed every single one of those episodes on an iPhone like this. And you could never tell, but that's just the way I used my iPhone. There's a difference between watching your grandma on FaceTime on an iPhone and someone who actually knows how to work a camera on your iPhone. You can use your iPhone to actually film, and it's not expensive as long as you already have an iPhone. iPhones are expensive. Let's get that clear. But there's all different kinds of cameras too that are, if you didn't have an iPhone, that are good quality. But the thing I like about iPhones is that they're really versatile, because when you're buying an iPhone, it's not just buying an iPhone, it's buying a camera, it's buying a good microphone, even in some cases lighting that I use. There's all different types of free apps and stuff that I'm going to tell you about in a little bit from other lists of the 5 top 5s. And all different kinds of things that you can do with your iPhone for social media, and then obviously you have to have some sort of phone to post certain videos on certain platforms. So it's an investment, and I think that's really cool. Here we go. The next mistake that people make. They don't do it, they don't start until they think they have everything together, right? It's kind of like the same thing as being expensive, but in reality, when you don't start when you have everything together, it might be because you don't have the right room to film in, or you don't have the right background, or you don't have the right people, or all different kinds of things. The trick is to just start, even if you don't know what you're doing. It's to start and try to make something creative that can reach kids for Jesus. The third mistake that people make, and that honestly too, I just want to clarify, I made every single one of these mistakes. And I'm still making some of them. Even like I'm reading them, and I have so many ideas that I've not done because I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to buy that before I do this, right? I still make those types of mistakes. But it's about kind of rewiring your brain. The third mistake is they accidentally create non-engaging content. This is that kind of cheesy Christian video stuff that I was talking about, right? Where it's like, oops, you just invested a bunch of time and it didn't reach your audience. But there's also different kinds of things that people do, where I'm going to talk about this a little bit in another top 5 list, but it's like, that was really unengaging just because of the way that the camera was set up. A lot of kids, when they're in school right now, a lot of them are doing online classes to where they're being taught, and they're forced to sit down and look at a still camera and listen to someone talk. And actually, this kind of shot where it's just like here in my head is actually really unengaging for kids. Not because you're unengaging, but because what they're looking at, they look at all the time. An adult talking into a camera with no movement, right? With no, nothing that they're like in their hands, or like, it's just, you know, you watch a Mr. Beast YouTube video, or like some sort of crazy YouTube video, and you see how the camera's working and operating. That's engaging content. But so often we accidentally talk in front of the camera for 3 minutes, or like 30, like I'm about to do, and you know, people just are unengaged. And kids have very short attention spans. So even in the kids' Bible experience, I try to change the camera angle every 10 seconds, right? Which is a challenge for me to try to figure out how to do those things and explain what I want to talk about. But if I'm making a kids' Bible experience, they're 1.5 minute videos on average, and I want to do it as fast as I can, and I don't want to lose the audience and their attention. So don't accidentally do that, but everybody's going to accidentally do it at least once. They don't control the things that they could control. What I mean by this is that I was filming a kids' Bible experience video the other day that was on the YouVersion app, and I was looking at my shot, and I saw a garbage can and a bunch of garbage on the floor in the background. And I was like, why did I film this video? Why didn't I see what I saw when I was editing the footage later? And then I was too lazy to edit the garbage can out, so I just kept it. but it was like really messy and unintentional. There's intentionality in the details, and so often it's like if I'm going to look for a background, I'm going to make sure that I can control that thing. I can move that garbage. I can try to make my space and my place look awesome and fun and engaging and bright and colorful. Here we go, number 5, their content lacks purpose. I won't point to any one specific content. I've made content that maybe doesn't lack purpose so much as it does, it's just like a fun video, right? It's not a bad thing to make fun videos. I have this video that's like one of my most famous videos that really doesn't have a point, but it's the spam rap. Have you seen the spam rap? She's not sure, but it's a crazy video that is all about spam, like the food spam, and one of my characters is rapping about spam, right? Its real purpose was just to be funny, right? But what I'm talking about and I'm meaning here is that for kids to really be discipled, if they're being discipled by a screen, there needs to be a lot of purpose behind the screen, and it all needs to come back to the Bible. I'm going to go to my next list. 5 top 5 top ways to improve your digital content creation. Don't stop learning, watch YouTube. I went to North Central University and I did not graduate with a digital or creative degree at all. I actually learned everything that I know about animation, video editing, film production, screenwriting, all these different types of things on YouTube because it's all free on YouTube channels like Film Riot. And there's a bunch of different DIY film channels that can teach you all different kinds of things about whatever editing program you're using, iMovie or Final Cut Pro or anything in Adobe. You can learn anything for free on YouTube. So the trick is to not stop learning. After you graduate college, you got to keep on learning. Number 2, invest in a good mic and learn how to use it correctly. I really think that a lot of people don't realize that over 50% of a video watching experience, like the movie that you go to, a lot of your experience, over half of it, is your experience with the audio. If you're watching a video, even if it's a pretty picture in a movie theater and there's like no bass, you're actually going to realize that. And even if you're not like a sound engineer, you might not be able to point out what's wrong with this movie. But it's like there's no bass. It's all like this high sounding audio and it's really annoying to watch. The point about making good video content is that actually audio is really important. A lot of people are like, I have an iPhone, but if you've ever been on a FaceTime call with your grandma and she's covering up the mic with her hand and she's talking, it's like really annoying to listen to your grandma. You're like, Grandma, take this off, or move your hand, and then you can start hearing yourself. And honestly, even I make that mistake sometimes with my own friends or when I'm talking to my wife, like, oh, I need to move my hand. It's really simple solutions, but a good microphone is actually very inexpensive, like I talked about in the beginning. The microphone that I use right now to film all my kids' ministry videos, voiceovers even, is at $150. And I'll talk about that in a little bit and give you some details. Brand your content so people recognize you easily. You didn't know it, but actually the slideshow that you're watching right now is branded. All right? This is Avant-Garde Bold. This is WorkSands Bold, and I'm using the same type of font and text and even colors. I have specific colors that you've been looking at this entire time that were all really intentional that I wanted you to see. Because when I look at these colors, I want you to think about my kids ministry right now. So the kids ministry that I run, even like that poster over there that you can't see over here, it's the rap rules. That same color yellow, FFB 549 if you were like typing in a hex into pages or anything like that. This is the same color yellow. And the opacity is a little different. But the point is that there's a lot of ways that you can actually make your content recognizable and just not so random, right? And kind of clear, organized, to the point, and intentional. And if you just pick a font and go with it, that's what I did with the Kids Cook vlog. I had my own brand for Kyle Jorris Ministries when I was an evangelist, and I picked one font, and I even used it a lot, even while I was traveling and I would go to a kids camp. I would use the same font that kids would see on my YouTube channel so that they would feel familiar, even if they couldn't point it out to their parents. Like, Mom, he's using the same font, right? It's not that big of a deal, but the point is that it's an intentional way to get people to recognize who you are, right? You don't want kids to just think you're some random YouTuber. You want them to understand that you are a church, right? Or you are a kids pastor or a missionary, or you're a youth pastor, whoever you are. You want people to understand and recognize you easily. Number 4 of the ways you can improve your digital content creation: engage the camera or find someone who can. Some people make fun of me because, not make fun of me, they tease me. It's a compliment that when I'm talking into a camera, or if you watch a kids cook vlog, I'll go into my kids ministry voice. Joel, you have a kids ministry voice, I'm sure, right? You're talking to a kid rather than adult. But my kids talking to the camera voice is like, hey, what's up, kids? It's Pastor Kyle, and I'm here to talk to you today. You know, it's like a totally different voice. All right, but I'm trying to engage the camera with my hand motions and all the different types of things that I'm talking about, and trying to make it fun and trying to be intentional with that, but really trying to understand that behind that camera is someone actually watching me, and how would I treat them if they were actually in this room, or how would I really try to hold their attention if it was even a 4-year-old, all right? How would I talk to whatever audience that you're talking to? Number 5, be dynamic and change it up while using repetition. Repetition is really good. Kids love repetition. So in the Kids Click vlog, if you watch my series, I have the same theme song like the entire time, all 3 years of footage that I collected, that every single time you say, welcome to the Kids Click vlog, and if you watch that, all the episodes, the song actually for an adult becomes really annoying, but for kids love repetition. You know the Funky Chicken song? Yeah, you know the Funky Chicken song, okay? At kids camp, we sing the Funky Chicken song. It really, that's one of my pieces of content that lacks purpose. All right, there's only a little bit of that song that actually says like hallelujah, like praise the Lord. But I think a majority of time adults are annoyed by repetition, but kids actually love repetition. So the more that you can repeat things or put routine into things, the more you can engage them with your content and create videos that are really awesome and fun. We're going to go to the third 5 top 5s, which is 5 top tools I use to create digital content. So number 1 is Apple products. I already talked to you guys about that. There's an Apple product filming me right now. Apple products are really awesome because they all can communicate with each other really well. If I wanted to airdrop a piece of media to that iPad to edit it and twist it and put it into some other place, or my iMac that I'm using to do this slideshow right now, Apple products communicate with each other so well, and I really, really love and recommend Apple products, even though that there's other tools. I just think it's best to, in the same way that if you were working in a wood shop, you wouldn't get like a DeWalt screwdriver and then a Dad, help me out with another brand. Milwaukee.
There's what am I using right now? The orange brand.
Yeah,
I can't even
you have too many brands.
No, I just use the same one.
Yeah, but the point is that even with sometimes, I was just talking to one of my guy friends. We were talking about power tools, and he was like, I love having all the same. Power tools got an electric lawnmower now, and that same battery plugs into one of his other tools. And the more tools that you can have that work well with each other, the better. That's my point. And I think a lot of people try to, either because they don't want to learn or because they're too expensive, or for a majority of different reasons, they don't just get all the same brand. But I used iMovie for the first 6 episodes of the Kids Cook vlog, and then I switched to another Apple product, which is Final Cut Pro. But I also use GarageBand, which is Apple, my iPhone, which is Apple. I use something else I'll talk about, a DJI Osmo Mobile Gimbal, which really communicates with Apple, and all different kinds of Apple programs and applications that I use that all communicate with each other. Number 2, what I just said, it's a DJI Osmo Mobile Gimbal. This thing right here is awesome. Have you guys seen anything like this? No? You guys should get one of these. Okay, not because I told you to, but just because this is a really versatile video tool. No matter what you're doing, this is how I make all of my really smooth transitions, and I have a countdown video in kids ministry where I have all these really smooth shots of the nursery and preschool and just really professional looking things. What this does essentially is that I can take my, I'll demonstrate it because it's really fun to see. It's like $120, and I think the newer one, this is an older version of the DJI Osmo Mobile Gimbal, is even cheaper. So these used to be really expensive. If you've ever seen like a Hollywood movie with like a huge camera rig on someone, a lot of people are using something just like this. What this does is it takes away any shake from my camera. It completely understands where my camera is moving, how it's weighted, and then I can literally go like this and it's like totally not at all moving. It's weightless. I even have a joystick here to where I can move it up and down. And when you Bluetooth connect this device with your iPhone, there's an application that communicates with Apple where I can double tap my face, put this on a tripod because there's a tripod mount right there, and I can literally walk around the room and it'll follow me because it sees my face. So this is like crazy technology, and it's a little over $100. But not many people utilize it because maybe they don't know it exists or they think it's too expensive. But I can film sideways, I can film horizontal like that. And yeah, I have record buttons, zoom. I can lock it into place to where literally I can go like that. It's just really fun to look at, honestly. And then I can turn it off and boom, take my iPhone out and put it into another tripod or anything like that. A super cheap tool that I've been using for years that just makes my stuff look so professional, even though it's not. I have never been paid for the Kids Click vlog, okay? So, anyways, Rode Video mics, just in general. I have a Rode Video Micro and a Rode Video NTG. Those audio products will make your video sound really, really good. And then also Scarlett products. That's what I use when I'm filming, or not filming, but sometimes filming, recording audio on GarageBand or Logic or whatever audio program you're using to capture audio. I film and do music videos using all of those products right there. So audio is really important. If you remember, don't have bad audio. Teleprompter apps. When I'm doing a Kids Click vlog or a devotion on Kids Bible Experience or something for recruiting volunteers at my kids ministry or anything, I actually have a teleprompter app on my phone. I think I paid $4 for it, but there's free versions. You can literally type out a script, put it in your phone, read it as it scrolls, and you're looking into the camera. That's how teleprompters work in like news studios. They're just reading. They didn't memorize that because it was literally written that day, right? So I have that on my phone. That way I can be fully engaged with how my body looks, what's around the room. I don't have to memorize anything, but I can be very intentional with what I communicate in a minute and a half on a Kids Bible Experience video. And I think that's so helpful, especially if you are bad at memorizing things like me. After I was done with JBQ, memorizing all that scripture, I'm bad at memorizing things, and I'd rather just fly from the cup anyways. My last one on digital content tools is Fiverr. So if you really don't know how to use anything or do anything, you can go to Fiverr and get it done for $5. That's the whole point of Fiverr. It's a freelance service, Fiverr.com. You can go, and if you need a voiceover, I wanted a voiceover that sounded like a movie announcer, and I didn't know anyone that could do that like was near me that I could invite to my studio and record their voice. But I went on Fiverr and found this guy for $5 that recorded this sentence for me that I wanted in my kids ministry, and he sent me like this deep audio voice, you know, and I downloaded the file and dragged it over to Final Cut Pro or the video thing that I was using. I did one that was for one of my characters, QB. He has this intro video. It's like, "Welcome, the greatest rapper of all time, SoundCloud extraordinaire, blah, blah, blah." And he's like this, it's like this deep black guy rapper voice, like intense audio, like total hype. And I got it for like $10. And you can get audio transitions and all different kinds of intro videos. A lot of YouTubers use Fiverr for all different kinds of things. So check out Fiverr.com. Here we go. Top 5 ways to create engaging and purposeful content. Number 1, base everything off the Bible, be silly for a reason. I think this is one of the things that a lot of curriculums that I see don't do like super well. It's like, okay, that was really awesome. I love that, but how am I supposed to preach after that video, right? Sometimes I've made content like that where I was like, oh man, if I applied the Bible to this a little bit more, I think a lot more people would utilize this in their kids' ministry. But the point is that everything we do in ministry, especially for kids, should be really Bible-based and foundational. So create purposeful content by doing this and trying to base it all off the Bible. Be inspired/steal. The guy in the back, I stole a lot of things from, and the woman in the back too, I stole a lot of stuff from her as I was growing up. And even like different ventriloquist jokes that my mom told, and different balloons creation and like stories that my dad told.
Or his brother.
Or my brother, yeah. But then there's also all different kinds of kids evangelists and kids pastors that I knew growing up that I was inspired by, like Dick Gruber and Randy Christensen and David Boyd and Kurt Zastro and all these people that I really looked up to and admired, and I actually just stole some of their things and techniques. And that's the same thing that we can do with digital content creation. We can write a fun theme song. The theme song for the Kids Clip vlog was directly stole from some song I heard in Adventures in Odyssey. I was listening to Adventures in Odyssey and I heard that, and so was Wendell's song, like his little intro song. I just like hear things and I mimic things, I change the word, I parody, right? It's really good to look at other things that you're inspired by and say, how can I use that inspiration to do something awesome? Use multiple intelligences to your advantage. If you didn't know, everybody learns in a different way. There's kinesthetic learners. In a video, you can even tell people to like, hey, stand up, even though they're not in the same room with you. You can tell them to repeat something. That's technically verbal, linguistic, and kinesthetic because they're moving, they're doing something. There's visual spatial learners, there's interpersonal learners and intrapersonal learners and naturalistic and logical mathematical and all these different things that we can actually utilize in video form to really communicate to students what we want them to learn. And then it has purpose and it works because they're learning something from a video. They're learning how to be discipled or love Jesus or worship Jesus. And you can learn every single one of the multiple intelligences that we learn in education. You can Google them and list all of them and how to speak to those specific learners. Number 4, seek God for creativity. I do this all the time in a worship service or prayer time. I'll actually pray to God, hey, would you give me an idea for the next thing that you want me to do or this video, because I don't have any more ideas and I really like being creative, so I kind of feel insecure right now. So God, can you tell me what I need to do or what video I can create? And in worship or in prayer, I'll actually have a really good light bulb idea that would just, be awesome, and I'll do it, and it was awesome. And I don't take credit for that. I actually tell people that all the time, that they should pray for creativity, because he's the creator of creativity itself, right? Number 5 from this list, the last one from this list, the best ideas are the ones you let marinate. So an example from my Kids Clip vlog, my original idea was to have different vlogs for every single one of my characters, which would take so much time. And I realized that. I was like, I want to have a vlog where Winston, my ventriloquist puppet, is like going around the camps that I go to, and he'll post different videos everywhere we go. But then I would end up, since I have so many characters and puppets and things, and then me too, I would have like 6 different videos I would be editing a month. That would be a lot. Instead, I was like, how about I just do one, and then my characters can make different guest appearances, and then I can make kids kind of click in with me, and then I was like, hey, the Kids Clip vlog. And then it just kind of snowballed. It got bigger and bigger, but don't do like your first idea, because usually your first idea is your worst idea. Not in a bad way, but if you think about it for a little while, you could have a better idea. So I think that's just really good advice. Let it marinate, think it over, tell people about it, see what they have to say. Here we go. Top 5 ways to improve your digital kids ministry storytelling. Use the Classic Cookbook Look Took. I didn't create this. I stole this. But Dad, you can't take credit for it either because you stole it as well.
Use it a lot.
This is, yeah. Did Dan Rector teach you this?
No, this is a preaching class I learned in North Central.
Preaching class at North Central University. This is preaching content that you're getting. You don't have to go to North Central. Don't worry. You can go right here to the digital kids ministry content. Don't worry, Joel. You just did Berean. It doesn't matter. Okay? You didn't have to be a North Central Ram. Okay? Hookbook Look Took is basically how you engage any single message. So not just digitally, but every single kid's message or thing that you do. At every single kids camp, my messages have a hook, a book, a look, and a took. The hook is how you engage them into what you want them to learn. So it's relating a really exciting piece of education or discipleship, right, to the thing itself. So it's not just like yo-yoing, right? Unless I can somehow relate yo-yoing to, up the mountain and down, like when you're down low, and it'd be really hard to preach a sermon about. I've been yo-yoing for a while, and I'm like, how would I use this really to communicate the gospel? But even with juggling, there's some different juggling lessons where I have like a ball that says A, B, C, and I do ask, believe, and confess, right? And I start juggling. I'm teaching kids while they're like looking at me and what I want them to learn. But essentially, the hook is how you hook them and engage them in the content that you want them to learn. The book is the Bible, obviously. It's the scripture reference or passage that you're preaching out of. The look is the actual physical, maybe object lesson, magic trick, video, music video, whatever you're having them look at to learn what you hook them to. And then the took is the application. It's the altar call. It's the prayer. It's the now what. It's the big idea. It's the take this home with you and apply it to your life and to your home, whatever that is. But that's a really great way to make a video or even a message or a sermon to be able to say, hey, now I had all of these elements. My sermon was complete. My video actually makes sense, and kids are going to understand it. Eventually, when you start using this model, hook, book, look, took, it'll just come naturally in every single thing you do. Of like, all right, I need a hook, book, look, took. I'm preaching this Sunday myself, and in my head, that's almost all I have right now, I'm going to be honest, is a hook, book, look, took. I can tell you what they are. I haven't written them down, but it's just ingrained in me that I need a hook, book, look, and took. So that's what I'm going to do. I wouldn't recommend waiting this long until writing your message or doing your radio. Number 2, use the 4 C's. Is your video clear, creative, compelling, and continuing? It's kind of like the hook, book, look, took, but it's a little different because I could have a hook and it might not be totally clear for that audience, but I want to make sure while I'm giving this video or this sermon or whatever it is, that it's clear, that it's concise, that the language I'm using doesn't fly over Natalie's head, like anti-disestablishment. I can't even say that word. Anti-disestablishmentarianism, is that a word? That's like the biggest word I know, other than supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, right? That's like a really, don't use like complex things. We still need to be discipling our kids. It's not like I'm not going to teach Natalie or any kid, even someone in preschool, like a preschooler, what sanctification is. I might use that word sanctification just so I'm not hiding it from them, but is that clear to them? If I'm talking to a preschooler, I might say, hey, sanctification is becoming more like Jesus every day. We've got to become more like him. But I would definitely describe it differently to an adult like me. But is it clear? Is it creative? Is it compelling? Does it inspire? And is it continuing? Are you actually going to apply this message? So think about the 4 C's. Number 3, write it down or outline your video, because it's important to know what you're about to do. Don't just like jump in front of the camera and start making a movie, but actually think about it. That's one way that you can be creative and tell a story well. Pixar, they outline their stories that they tell for like 3 years before they even start animating. So that's why their stories are so good. So if we're in kids ministry and we want to have good stories too, thankfully, God already wrote the best story, so we don't have to think that long. But if we want to tell really great stories, we need to actually write it down and have organized thought process to the way we create. Number 4 is relate and involve your audience. One of the things that I've been doing this entire time is, like I've mentioned, my audience here and there, and you guys in here, and I've started relating my content and asking questions to who I'm talking to. So the other thing, though, is that you have to have a specific target audience. So when I'm making a kid's Bible experience, I'm actually targeting 8 through 12-year-olds, or really specifically, it's even for preteens too. So even when I'm talking, I'm thinking, okay, how would a 13 or a 14-year-old think about this as well? But relate and involve your audience, because then they'll actually feel heard and seen even behind a video. Number 5 is reflect on your past work and compare content. So if I look at the first Kids Click vlog and then the last Kids Click vlog, obviously the last Kids Click vlog that I made that's on YouTube is way better. It's so fun and funny. Like, my characters have so much more personality. I have such better audio and lighting. I have all different kinds of people coming back, and all different kinds of footage and different things that are like callbacks to other episodes, and so much more fun. But that's only because I kept my past work in mind. And I said, am I getting better? Am I being more creative? Is this actually making sense? Does it sound better? Am I doing things correctly? Like, I asked myself all those questions about my own content. So that is my last top five of ways to improve, and just in general, those are the 5 top 5s. There it is. But again, digital kids ministry is not the newest technique. Digital kids ministry is a new mission field, and as this is my personal opinion, that as the Assemblies of God movement, we need to start handling and understanding this a lot more seriously, and really holding it like it is a new missions field. Because this is a way that we can reach not just the world, but North America and our kids here in our own country. And we can actually inspire and compel these kids as they're spending hours a day on their screen to live for Jesus. And we need to really think and process and organize and be really intentional of how we create discipleship for kids and ways for kids to come to Jesus through a screen, through a camera, through a microphone, online, on the internet, how we can do that really, really well. And not just throw the resources we have at it that are left over, but actually put everything in a lot of intention into this, because digital kids ministry is the future. And just my future here, in my head, I'm planning to launch an entire online kids campus at my church for kids in rural North Dakota to look at weekly, right? Not just monthly, but that there would be content coming from my church that would be weekly, equipping churches all over my state, and then hopefully all over the country and the world, for kids to learn Jesus even if their parents aren't taking them to church, right? How are we doing that strongly? And how are we doing it intentionally, creatively, and just better than the rest of the world? Because I want Christian content to not look like some of the old 90s VHS content, but I want it to stand out. I want to be funny. I want to be engaging. I want to be organized, intentional, and just have a lot of fun doing it. So those are the 5 top 5s. Again, those are things that I learned and I am learning, all right? I'm not perfect. If you see one of my videos and I didn't relate it to the Bible, you should text me and warn me, okay? Because that was probably a mistake that I learned the hard way already. But anyways, I know there's only a few people in the room, and I'm not going to answer any questions from my parents, but do you guys have any questions or any thoughts?
I want just kind of a part, it's part of it, but it's apart from it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your best experiences with the Lord, did you have any digitally, or were they mostly in person?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say, online, thanks to COVID, when I had to have digital experiences, I was forced to have digital
Yes.
experiences with my church. But even growing up, too, I think there were so many digital kids resources that are ingrained into my brain, even if they weren't video. Because what I was talking about here is video.
Right.
But have you heard of like Dan Betzer before? Dan and Louie?
No.
Okay, I have some old cassettes in my office, right? And they're all Bible stories of this really famous AG pastor talking to his ventriloquist dummy on a cassette. I wasn't even watching it. It was all in my imagination that I was like imagining this. But a lot of my foundational like childhood theology comes from even just that creative kids resource.
Yeah.
Or things like, you know,
So they contributed to.
they contributed.
To your desire
Yeah,
for the Lord.
yeah, and just spiritual formation.
Yeah.
When I can quote something back of something I learned from something I listened to because a creative kids resource gave it to me, right? Because I listened to it. There is, I mean, the reason I'm struggling answering your question is
Yeah.
because I'm thinking of it of like, what did I have when I was a kid?
Right, what was
Right.
available?
Yeah, and
Because
there's
it's changed a lot.
so much
Yeah,
change.
'cause I didn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah, YouTube I think came out when I was like 12 or 13.
Well,
So-
internet came out when I was like
Yeah.
13.
Exactly. So
I mean, it was there, but it wasn't available.
that's why I'm talking about like the idea that this isn't just a new technique, but it's actually a new missions field.
Yeah.
Like even though the internet is relatively new compared to just the entire universe, it's still developing and becoming this entity that's like, wow, we need to as Christians inhabit this place. That's why there's mega churches in the metaverse right now. River Valley launched a church in the metaverse, and so did James River, I believe, and so did Life Church. All these huge churches are going to places and trying to inhabit it and literally buy metaverse property to try to get into things. So I've even brainstormed myself of like, how could I do that?
Because I know that digital content, at least from my perspective, it definitely can enhance and influence
Yeah.
a person's life and what they do, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything can quite replace an in-person
Yeah, or especially an altar experience,
experience. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And so I think that maybe because it is a mission field, because there's
Mhm.
kids that just
They don't have anything.
they don't have parents that are gonna take them to church. They don't want to go to church, or they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
this is where they're at.
Yeah.
So you want to engage them, but it's the difficulty I think sometimes is where do they go from there
Yeah. Absolutely.
to get that
To really experience
connection
it.
with
Yeah.
God and other people that know God.
Yeah. Which again, too, I totally agree with you
Yeah.
because at the same time, like I'm preaching and teaching about digital kids ministry,
Yeah.
but I also like think technology is the worst for kids too. Like, but the truth is they are being discipled by Snapchat.
Yes,
Which
they're
is
all
like,
on it.
oh
Yeah.
dang it, get your kids off Snapchat.
Yeah.
Like
They're
they're not gonna do
So-
anything good on there.
Yeah, it's like we need as Christians to be there.
We need to be there.
Because they need it.
Yeah. We need to be there, but also
How do
I
we
don't like
engage-
being here.
How do we engage them so that then they want to be in person
Yeah.
with somebody that's
Yes. Exactly.
engaging like
But-
your video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even as a pastor, some of my best times with the Lord are digitally based. Like I put on worship from something
Yeah.
on my
Yes.
phone. Not that I'm
Mhm.
watching it, right? But it's part of my
Part of your
devotion, like
experience.
so much.
Yeah.
It's almost ridiculous, but
It can be like very powerful. I don't know if you've ever watched The Chosen.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Shows
They
so good.
have created content that's very powerful.
Even for kids.
yeah,
too.
my oldest is 6. Then down, they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So young.
So I
kids.
mean,
They
there
love
is
watching
that,
Jesus.
yeah. So there is that element like that. This can really, really be mission oriented. This can really reach people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing to take away is that we need to use it as a means for us to also be in
Bring
person,
them into relationship.
react to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 10 minutes.
So.
Good. I'm gonna be done way sooner than 10
And then
minutes.
you used a microphone of a certain kind. How much was that?
I think so. The Rode Video Micro
Yeah.
is like $40. So
Okay. Did
cheap
you buy this
and
stuff
good.
online?
What?
Did you buy it online or?
Yeah, you can get them on Amazon if you search Rode Video Micro.
Okay.
You should be if COVID didn't prohibit
Right.
production of
And
anything.
then I really like your example.
This thing,
Yes.
you can get this. I actually bought this on Apple.com.
What was it?
DJI
DJI.
Osmo Mobile Gimbal. So this one's
Okay.
specifically for your phone,
Right.
but you can also get ones for DSLRs and all different kinds of things.
Yeah.
But the reason I like both of those things is because even like as I'm thinking about this iPad, if I go up to this iPad, it's going to get louder as I come here. But I'm trying to even look for, there it is. There's two microphones right here. And they're both omnidirectional. So that means it was listening to Joel breathe the whole time.
Yep.
So, like this iPad and this setup is okay for the
Right.
purpose that we wanted it to accomplish, which is to have whoever wanted to listen to me afterwards listen to me. However, if I was creating a piece of digital content, what that 40 microphone does
Where did you
is,
set it up?
or the $40 microphone, it plugs in or connects to a what's called a shoe mount,
Okay.
which is something I have. If you search shoe mount iPhone holder, it's like this thing you can put it in. It kind of acts like this structure that holds this iPad on this tripod, but I could put the microphone here, and what the Rode Video Micro does is it's a shotgun microphone,
Okay.
which doesn't mean it's gonna shoot you, okay? But shotgun microphones are not omnidirectional. They actually have one microphone that points towards, and they're picking up audio kind of like this, you know?
Yep.
Whereas in this microphone's picking everything up like this,
Yep.
you know? So you can point that microphone at you, and it actually has other microphones that go backwards that listen for that sound, and as that sound comes into the front, if it does, it'll like program it out.
So that it just gets you.
Yeah.
What you want.
Mm-hmm. So it's, you plug in,
You would put that just in one position, and then
Mhm.
you would have your camera,
yep,
and they would be communicating through your
camera app.
camera app.
Yeah, it works on your camera app, it'll work on your teleprompter apps, like I
Okay,
talked
so your
about.
camera app will communicate with the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you have, so then, if you buy the Rode Video Micro
Yeah.
or the Rode Video NTG,
Yeah.
both those things will come with all the cables necessary, besides your iPhone dongle. Do you have an iPhone?
No.
So, okay, it'll have a 3.5 millimeter jack then, probably on your phone, like that you can plug in headphones still. You know, it'll plug in right to there.
Okay.
So, but there's like different types of things. I think it's called SSR. Like a normal headphone jack has 3 rings, like they're like white or black.
Yep.
The ones that you use for mics actually have 2, but like there's a specific way of like where to plug it in, or what end to plug it in, because one will have 3 and one will have 2. So I learned this the hard way because I like plugged it in, I filmed something, and then I played it and there was no audio, right? Because it wasn't communicating. And it was okay, I had time to refilm it.
Right.
But that's just another pro tip is like when I set up a microphone or like some sort of system like this to film me, I'll plug every single thing in. I'll make sure I have all the lighting good like I'm going to have it. Like I have all of my mics set up, all of them turned on with the right amount of gain. Because the NTG Video Micro will actually have a gain controller where I can
Okay.
actually have, like, essentially it's like telling the shotgun how much, width, just like choosing your ammo for a shotgun, but then it'll also ask me how much power, So I can change the gain on that and control that. I'll test everything and then I'll unplug everything and listen to it on my phone. Be like, okay, it sounded pretty good. Sometimes I'll even listen to it on different speakers, like louder speakers, and be like, how is this going to sound in my auditorium? If I didn't edit it. Because I could, if I was an audio engineer, I could go in and make it all sound good with the right amount of bass and high end and low end and mid frequency and effects and all different kinds of things. But just like I wanna make the first product at least semi-acceptable. So I usually put different audio filters in. You can do that in iMovie and Final Cut Pro of like, I want to make this like sound lower or higher.
Yeah.
But then after I like listen to it, then I'll plug everything back up, like make sure, maybe adjust the gain a little bit or like a setting, and then I'll start. So it saves me a lot of time because I still make that mistake all the time.
So I know you said the cord, so that means it's not, the mic is not wireless.
The mic is not wireless. There are, I totally even forgot to show.
Because when you're walking around them with your camera,
Yes.
it's plugged in.
Yeah, so for this simple setup,
Yeah.
this one won't let you, if you have this gimbal,
Okay.
have a microphone too.
Okay.
There are more expensive gimbals where you can have a
So
shoe mount on.
that one then is where you're just using the mic from the phone.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. I use this one more for music videos,
Okay.
dramatic shots. I just released a music video for Easter called I Am the Way, and it was all filmed on this.
Okay.
It looks like so cinematic, and like I had a team there, which is my wife, walking around like this, you know. That's all it was, but it looks so awesome.
So that's great. That's great for
So,
video presentation.
video
and then you could
presentation.
add audio to it in a editing.
Exactly. Or if
Okay.
you're doing a voiceover or something.
Yep.
This right here, this is one of my newest audio tools, and essentially it's whatever you use. It works just like a sound system at your church. Where this one, the receiver, would actually plug in. I'd like clip this to wherever on my phone. It will fit on an iPhone, and then I can plug it in. They have plugins right there. I didn't bring the cords with me, but then this one. This is like the actual microphone I can clip on my jacket right
Oh,
here
nice. Yeah.
and plug it in, and it acts like a lapel. And there's even different things where if you had a wireless microphone that had a 3.5 jack, where I could actually have a more hidden microphone too. But I use this even for something like I do team nights all the time for our kids team, and we have like 250 volunteers here. And I want to bring them every quarter and talk to them about what our church is doing and everything. But a lot of them can't make it,
Right.
But I, at the same time, can't use my production team for the church and say, hey, Paul, Mitch, and all of you guys, will you come? And the whole creative team's here. Like, they're here all the time, every Sunday and for every single event. So what I do is I use that, and I use Facebook Live, and I put the camera a lot closer to me so it's a little more engaging.
Yep.
And then I'm teaching to everyone that showed up and got free food, and everyone who couldn't make it, and it's clear audio. So if I listen back to it, it's one of the most annoying things to do, to listen to like a video training, and it like sounds bad. It's like
Or
one of
you
my
can't hear them, you just hear the audience.
exactly. Or it's a Zoom call recording, like all of these podcasts that I like love, right? And they had Zoom interviews over COVID. And I was just like, oh, like I hate it. These celebrities or whoever I'm listening to, even like a lot of pastors, they don't know how to work a microphone, right? As you can tell, who didn't know how to work a microphone during COVID. My dad's laughing because he was one of them. He called and asked a few questions, but that's my best advice on mics. So
Thanks.
You didn't show them
thanks
your
for.
homemade gimbal ding ding thing that you made at the house.
No, I didn't. But you know what? I actually have a lot of those tools that when I was watching YouTube and doing stuff like that, I would watch different YouTube things of how to make my own gimbal or jib or like mics it up from PVC pipe or like, you know, wood and some hinges and whatnot, and my old skateboard, like to make things like look smooth. And that's all in my parents' attic. So
No longer there.
no longer there, you got rid of it. Yeah. Thanks, Joel.